damn drain.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening.
Why should you want to know? Don't you mind about the future?
And now, live, unedited, unrehearsed, and unapologetic, brought to you by Duncan's Diamonds, your direct diamond importer. Straight off the ledge, it's JD and Smitty.
This is the Ledge Radio Show with JD and Smitty on 96K Rock. The phone lines are open, 277-9600. Or for the viewers watching on the Ledge Cam, it's 239-775-9600. Thanks to executive producer Tripod Billy, we are streaming live video at theledgeradioshow.com. You can also give us a like on Facebook at facebook.com/The Ledge Radio Show. Special thanks to our in-studio producer, Sick Rick. What's up, Smitty?
What's up, Southwest Florida? Thanks for tuning in here. I'd first like to thank our title sponsor, Duncan Diamonds, for supporting us at the Ledge Radio Show. Without them, this wouldn't be possible. Call them for all your diamond and jewelry needs at 877-343-4883. That's 877-343-4883. Or check them out on Google. You'll find them. And I'll also say welcome to our in-studio guest. I'm going to try not to slaughter your name here. Joe Winspinger.
Joe, what
is it?
What's
How
your
is
name?
it?
Close.
Get up a little bit closer.
Say it, Joe.
Winpisinger.
Winpisinger.
It's actually phonetic, believe it or not.
Okay, it's Joe Winpisinger. He's in studio with us.
Smitty did not learn through phonics. I don't think.
No. Oh, no, I'm also going to be giving a little shout-out to Mel's Diner. I have some gift certificates I'll be giving away. Probably the fourth caller that calls today and talks to Billy and talks him into it, they can have the doggone thing. So,
all right.
Colin, thanks so much for Mel's.
Before we get into the meat of it, just want to give a little shout-out tonight. They got the Laid Back and Giving Back second annual all-night rock and blues bash featuring the Smoke and Joe and Connie Band. Guest appearances by Todd Hart and Stars.
I'm going.
You are going to be. That's
Yeah,
right. I was going to go, but I got
go.
my son's football games tonight.
I'm going to check it out.
So tonight, 6 p.m. to 11, go meet Smitty at Jack's River Bar, 475 North Road in Naples. All-night rock and blues. They got a 50-50 drawing, live auction, $10, includes barbecue. The donations from the raffle and auction benefit the foster children of Collier County.
Absolutely.
For more information, call 239-213-1441. All right, Smitty, the big topic this week, originally we were going to start with something else as the week began. But
it changes so quickly.
It does change. News changes. Things happen. I mean, we had some major events happen in the Middle East this week with the anniversary of 9/11. And right out of the box, some of the responses were that because of these attacks, that perhaps it was due to this particular I don't even want to say anti-Islamic, but a video that was made.
It bashed the Islamic.
It must have either it offended some because I don't know if it mentioned Muhammad. I didn't watch the video.
I watched about 5 minutes of it.
What did you see from it?
It reminded me of a second-rate film. It wasn't really. It's like a B movie. You know how you watch them B movies? It wasn't like Tom Cruise.
But I mean, were they like making fun of him, like in The Dictator, something like that?
Well, yeah, he would come by like he'd slap the woman down. You know what I mean? It was kind of slapstick, but it was. And I only watched like 4 or 5 minutes of it. I said, I'm done with this. We should have played. We should have played the Ramadan song. Just just kind of back it up. Yeah, maybe not. You can go to our website though and see the Ramadan song if you'd like.
Yeah, theledgeradioshow.com, and you can pull up our pre-recorded episodes. And we've got a little Smitty did a little ditty on the Ramadan song just to celebrate for Ramadan.
But we should really make mention that, like you're talking about the attacks, very
more serious.
Yeah, more serious. Condolences to all the families that lost people. Chris Stevens, Glenn Dowdery, and he was an ex-Navy SEAL, and some of the other guys that were out there. I don't have their names right in front of me right now. Terry Jones, I think it was, and there was another guy named Sean Smith.
Are you sure it was Terry Jones? Because isn't that the pastor from
I'm looking
Gainesville?
I'm looking at my paper.
I mean, there could be certainly more than one Terry Jones.
Yeah, regardless, it was very tragic. So these guys,
absolutely,
these guys deserve a salute.
Well, what I like to do sometimes when we got the opportunity is I like to have an expert either call in or come on the show with us when we have something like this. Because, Smitty...
It just so happens. You imagine you mentioned that.
Well, we're not... even though we look like it, and we did say at Holiday Inn Express last night, we are not experts on everything.
No.
Almost nothing, actually. Very little.
Food. You got food covered now.
I can eat well. I do like barbecue, but...
I like my whiskey, so...
I hear you. Well, so I've got an expert on the line. We've got Joe Ruffini back with us. Joe Ruffini is a counterterrorism expert. He's been a guest before. He's the author of When Terror Comes to Main Street. He also
been on CNN.
Yeah, he's been on a couple different
Came
things.
on here once, thanks to Ray. And helped us out.
His new book is the Real Warrior's Manual. Joe, are you with us, buddy?
I am. Good to be with you guys again.
Hey, thanks a lot, man.
Great to have you, Joe.
So, Joe, what we got major issues, major conflicts again over in the Middle East. What's the latest?
Well, it's I really am so upset at the American media for blowing all this out of proportion.
Okay.
And to give you an example, I spoke at a security conference in Philly yesterday. I'm sitting in the green room, and the gentleman sitting next to me lives in Cairo.
Okay.
And we're watching one of the cable news coverage of the protests in the streets, and the cops are throwing tear gas. And he and I said the same thing. If they had just moved that camera a couple of degrees to the right or the left, what you would have seen is life is normal in Cairo. People on bicycles, people walking to work. You're talking about a city that has a population of about 20 million with another 2 million commuters, and the only thing in the street was a couple of hundred kids. And the media makes it out to be like the whole country's coming undone.
I gotcha. So it's not. So the whole country's not in protest. It was just right around the embassy.
If you want, we can take it country by country.
And let's do
Libya, where our ambassador and the others unfortunately were killed on the 11th, and then we can talk about Yemen and we can talk about Egypt. But what we have to realize as Americans, and here's where the media really lets us down. I mean, let's think back to our youth when we were teenagers. I mean, all of us at one time rebelled against something.
True.
All right? Well, that's it. What we don't realize as Americans is that about 65% of these countries in the Middle East, to include the countries in North Africa, the ages are between the median age. I'll give you an example. In Libya, the average age is 26. In Egypt, the average age is 23. And in Yemen, the average age is 17. All of these Arab countries right now, the majority of the population is young kids, many of whom are college educated. The college education rates run very, very high. And, having been ruled for many, many years by these political tyrants, these despots, unfortunately supported for many generations by the United States, they're getting their first taste of freedom. And they're taking to the streets. Their country's evolving. It's the first time they've been able to actually go out and express themselves in large numbers without being arrested and tortured and shot. It's a new experience for them. But, again, let's keep it in perspective. Probably the country with the largest Arab population is Egypt, okay?
All right.
There is a lot of anti-American sentiment in Egypt for a couple of reasons. Number one, we supported their former ruler and dictator, Hosni Mubarak, with billions of dollars a year and political support for more than 3 decades. But again, let's keep it in there's 82 million people in Egypt, 20 to 22 million on any given day in Cairo, where we saw the demonstrations in front of the U.S. Embassy, and there were only a couple of hundred kids out there. When you watch these protests, and here's the things, look for people carrying weapons, okay, that's number one.
That'd be a good place to
start. And by and large, they weren't. They were throwing rocks. They were kids. And the other thing is usually when there's an Islamist element leading these demonstrations, one or more people will be carrying a flag representing the Islamist, kind of faction in that crowd. And if you look closely at what was going on in the streets of Cairo yesterday, I didn't see any weapons. I didn't see any flags.
Well, they used the one incident, of course, back in Libya. They weren't throwing rocks there, Joe. They were blowing up the place
now
with
Libya,
missiles.
Libya, we have a difference. I think when the dust settles and as the investigation continues, what we're going to find is that assault on the embassy that unfortunately took the lives of those 4 people, that was a planned military operation.
You think so? Absolutely.
Absolutely. I mean, we had rocket-propelled grenades. It was a military-type assault.
So
Al-Qaeda does have a very strong influence among the jihadists in Libya, and we might find that this was an intentional attack planned and executed, on 9/11. But, again, the majority of the Libyan population is very, very thankful to the United States and the NATO-led operation that actually got Muammar Gaddafi out of there and kind of led him on the way to freedom. And the great majority of Libyan citizens were very fond of Ambassador Chris Stevens. They loved the man. The ambassador risked his life during the revolution to meet with with the the rebel party that was trying to put Muammar Gaddafi out of there, and they had a great respect for him. And the fact that this attack took place, it's very, very unfortunate. But we as Americans need to understand whoever perpetrated that attack is in no way indicative of the way the Libyans feel about the United States. And this is why I pound the TV media, because they tell us what's happening, but they don't tell us why it's happening. They don't tell us how it relates to the population and their feelings overall, and they don't really put it in perspective. And it just frustrates me. You know, they make it sound like everybody in North Africa and the Middle East hates America. That's not true.
Well,
they may dislike our politics. They may not like our foreign policy. They may not like the inequitable nature of our foreign policy, but there's not as much America hating out there as the news would make it out to be.
Well, it certainly is a hard sell. I mean, after we saw that on TV and see the thing blow up and they dragged the guy out, it's a hard sell to tell people, oh, they're not all like that.
That's what he's trying to say, is that the media does sensationalize it. I mean, clearly that still doesn't change the outcome of what happened.
An example. Let's take something that happened here in the States and let's apply it, if we may, gents.
Okay.
Let's go back to the Rodney King incident and the several times, unfortunately, where the L.A. police blatantly use excessive force against African Americans.
We need to send them over to Iraq.
Well, I mean, we see that on TV.
We'll send the L.A. police force over there. They'll take care of it.
Do Americans think that every L.A. cop is a racist?
I think, well, according to the media, they probably did at one time.
Well, but what I'm saying is we look at that, we look at incidents like that, and people go out and protest. Many hundreds, sometimes thousands of people protest. But does that mean that all Americans think ill of a law enforcement officer? Absolutely not.
I see your point.
All right, so the only point I'm making, guys, is that had there been 20, at the height of the Egyptian Revolution in Tahrir Square, there was almost 1.5 million by some estimates people. So if we watch TV and the crowds are being estimated at 10,000, 20,000, 70,000, hey, we got a problem.
Yeah.
But out of 20 to 22 million, you show me 200, all I'm going to say is some kid that hasn't got a job, that's very frustrated. And the other thing we have to realize is there are still many people in that world, having lived under dictatorships, nothing out on the media without the approval of the government. So when they see this, the innocent Muslim, and I agree with, was it you, JD, that saw the trailer?
That was Smitty.
I saw it.
It was total trash. It was extremely disrespectful. It was garbage. It was worse than a B movie. You're right.
It was terrible.
However, in the United States, God bless us, we have the right to put stuff like that out. It's our constitutional right. But the people in the other countries automatically assume, because the only thing they have known is dictatorship and complete control of the media, if it was made in the United States and put on the Internet, based on decades of their own experience, they automatically assume it was sanctioned by the government.
Wow.
Well, what about the press? And I know this is probably biased over there, but
it's state run. It was.
Well, I guess that would be Al Jazeera. Somebody like that. Why don't they come out and hold these guys responsible? I mean, these people, if they're just kids running around, it certainly doesn't look like that. And I looked last night on the map, and me and Sick Rick here, we were talking about it. There's 20 or 30 embassies that are now kind of, I guess, allegedly under siege. I mean, that goes from Libya all the way to Sudan. They burned the German embassy down. It seems a little bit more than just as benign as you make it sound, Joe.
Well, I mean, it's not. Anytime you have a siege on an embassy, and whether or not the movie The Innocent Muslim is the reason why they're coming to the streets or just another excuse to let off steam. I think what we have to look at in the final analysis, what is the damage done, and are there any casualties? A bunch of people trying to climb the wall of an embassy that get pushed back by tear gas and water cannons or rubber bullets by their own police. This has happened ever since there have been embassies, and this will certainly die down. But I guess what I'm saying, guys, is that I'm just trying to put it in perspective. If in 4 or 5 days this all goes away and people go back to their business, it was something that upset them, and with their new freedoms, they came out and enjoyed protest in the streets, which most of these people haven't been able to do for years. So, in some respect, guys, what the entire North Africa, which is included as the Middle East, what they're doing right now is they're letting off steam after their Arab Spring revolutions. I mean, they're settling down. Their governments are just now forming. It's a whole new thing for them. I mean, when you go back to even our country, it took us 13 years after we won our independence to come up with a constitution.
That's true. That's true.
So I mean, these countries, they're only, a lot of them, 6, 7, 8, maybe 10 months into being released from these tyrannical leaders, and they don't know what to do with themselves.
I think that the American people here are just so sick and tired of the Middle East. I mean, we're just sick and tired of hearing and making excuses for these people. I mean, for years, and we put up with their garbage. And, every time we turn around, we try to turn the other cheek. We try to be a little bit more congenial. And we understand that there's a lack of education on some of these younger folks. But, at some point in time, enough's enough. And I think the American people are getting tired of it. And we're saying, you know what? We're not going to send you 1 red cent. We're not going to send you one more penny until you straighten yourself out.
What do you think about that, Joe? There's in
theory, idealistically, I agree with that 100%. Now let me tell you why we can't afford to do that.
Okay.
If we stop sending money to places like Egypt and Libya, we lose what political and economic leverage we have. And if we pull out of that region and we have absolutely nothing to back up our leverage, then that opens it up to the growing Islamist political parties. And the bottom line is, guys, the realities of how the world works is money talks, and money has influence, and we need to maintain money and influence in the region so that as the dust settles and these governments solidify, we don't end up with completely radical Islamist rule throughout northern Africa and the Middle East. And I agree. Every time we give money, but let's go back and I'm going to tell you guys something that you're not going to like, okay?
All right, we're ready.
And if you hang up on me, it won't be the first time.
No, Joe, we won't do that to you, buddy.
All right, here's the thing. I love this country. I love this country dearly, but its political stand in the Middle East has been 180 to democracy and freedom. Let's just look at, we're still supporting the Saudi royal family that has suppressed a great part of its population really since it came into being. Hosni Mubarak of Egypt, we supported him for over 3 decades with billions of dollars of years. He probably has tortured and jailed more of his own citizens than Saddam Hussein ever did. When the Arab Spring uprising occurred in Bahrain, we did nothing. The reason why we did nothing is our U.S. Fifth Fleet is stationed there in the capital, in Manama. So the Arabs, the Muslims of the Middle East and Northern Africa, they look at the U.S. policy and they say, we don't understand you guys. You mobilized the UN to throw a despot like Muammar Gaddafi out of Libya, and then you still have the Syrian regime that already has killed 15,000 of their people in the streets in the last year.
It does kind of look a little hypocritical, doesn't it?
It's not that it looks like it. It absolutely is a double standard.
Hey, Joe, can we get you to hold through a break? We're coming up on a hard break here, and would you mind holding through a break? It's 3 or 4 minutes.
I promise we won't hang up on you.
This is the Ledge Radio Show with JD and Smitty, 277-9600, 775-9600. We'll be right back.
Hey, it's Zito and Garrett asking for your help to feed Southwest Florida's hungry. Not you, Garrett.
96 K-Rock, Lee Tran, Publix, and the Harry Chapin Food Bank are teaming up for the 4th annual Fill Our Fleet.
Stop into any of the 34 Publix locations and purchase a pre-packaged donation bag to help feed the hungry.
Then join K-Rock on September 16th from 11 to 1 p.m. at the Publix on Gladiolus as we try to fill a Lee Tran bus with food donations for the Harry Chapin Food Bank.
For more information, visit 96krock.com.
Securing your family, your business, your property. That's what's important in your world. No matter how big, no matter how small. Secure your world with Imperial Fire Alarm and Security today.
Imperial Fire Alarm and Security is a local company with hometown service, the way it should be. One call to Imperial will align you with the most effective fire alarm security and surveillance systems, as well as state-of-the-art wireless monitoring. If you're a property manager or condo association member, ask about Imperial's wireless monitoring systems to replace costly and unreliable phone lines and save your community thousands. From individual homes to large communities, Imperial Fire Alarm and Security can secure your world.
Don't you think it's time to secure your world? Imperial Fire Alarm and Security services Lee, Charlotte, and Collier counties. Learn more at imperialfiresecurity.com or to schedule your free consultation, call 239-288-6482. Secure your world at ImperialFireSecurity.com.
License number EF2000046.
The nicest used cars anywhere in the country are right here in Naples. And they're all on NaplesUsedCars.com. Hundreds of extra clean, low-mileage used cars at a fraction of their original prices. All makes, all models, like a nearly new loaded Mercedes C350, just $32,997. That's half the price when new. Looking for a sporty BMW 3 Series? Get one loaded for only $16,799. And don't forget the classic American luxury of a Lincoln MKZ luxury sedan for just $14,999. Hundreds of quality pre-owned cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs in stock. Browse at your own pace, 24 hours a day. Get your trade value, your interest rate, your down payment, your monthly payment. Even fill out your credit app online. Plus, we'll buy your car even if you don't buy one of ours. Visit NaplesUsedCars.com. That's NaplesUsedCars.com.
Plus tax, tag, and title fees, sponsored by Germain.
Southwest Florida knows that Duncan's Diamonds has the best prices, but it's their quality, selection, and excellent customer service that keeps customers coming back year after year. And Duncan's Diamonds customers have great things to say.
Their sales team is extremely helpful and knowledgeable.
I shopped at other jewelry stores, but there's no place like Duncan's Diamonds. And I tell all my friends to come here every chance I get.
At Duncan's Diamonds, I found everything I was looking for. Great designers. I was awfully impressed with their Hearts on Fire diamonds and jewelry. You know, they're really amazing.
The customer service is excellent. You know, you're free to take your time and browse without being hassled, and all your questions are answered.
I've been to every chain jewelry store, department store, and independently owned stores. None of them beat Duncan's Diamonds prices. They are the best.
I had some jewelry to sell, and by far, Duncan's Diamonds paid me the most cash and paid on the spot.
Duncan's Diamonds puts your mind at ease. Best quality at the best price.
Discover Duncan's Diamonds, Fort Myers on US 41, and in the Gulf Coast Town Center, where you'll find the largest selection at the best prices in Southwest Florida.
I'm Mike Chinopoulos from Absolute Law, and I can help. I have experience in a wide range of legal services, including family law, foreclosure defense, appeals, paternity, and all aspects of civil litigation. So if you have any questions concerning your divorce, child custody, child support, paternity, or you're facing foreclosure, I can help. I'm Mike Chinopoulos of Absolute Law in Fort Myers. Call Absolute Law, 239-349-8010. That's 349-8010. As an experienced attorney and former judge, I'll make sure your rights are protected. So call me today, Michael Chinopoulos of Absolute Law, 239-349-8010, or on the web at absolutelaw.net. Let me be your advocate. I'm Mike Chinopoulos from Absolute Law, and I can help. Absolute Law, 239-349-8010, or find Absolute Law on the web at absolutelaw.net. Absolute Law, a law firm you can trust, absolutely.
Well, here we go.
Yeah, that's what my friends say too. Well, here we go.
Now back to the Ledge Radio Show with JD and Smitty on 96 K-Rock. Talk that rocks.
Welcome back. Phone numbers are 239-277-9600 or 775-9600. Check out the live stream at theledgeradioshow.com. You can also find us at facebook.com/The Ledge Radio Show. If you'd like to advertise during this show for our new primetime slot every Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon, visit our website. Contact us for details. Still need a title sponsor for the second hour. Great rates while they last. As the election nears, the value only goes up. And back with us is Joe Ruffini, author, counterterrorism expert. We're speaking with Joe right now about the whole Middle East, and the way Joe puts it, the media says it, they're making it look like a meltdown when that may not actually be what's happening. Joe, are you back with us, buddy?
I certainly am, Brent.
All right. Well, we appreciate that. Joe, before we get back into it, I just noticed the top line on Drudge right now. Al-Qaeda in Yemen is urging Muslims to kill U.S. diplomats over the film. So we already know Al-Qaeda, they're behind a lot of this, the actual killing.
Al-Qaeda's been encouraging people to kill all the Americans they can get their hands on since 1993.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you what we should be outraged at, guys. Politicians, and this isn't a Democrat or a Republican thing, it's a political thing. Politicians are great at welcoming back caskets and making speeches. I think in this day and age, the fact that we had no Marines at that consulate to protect the ambassador because the host country didn't want, we have Marines there now, but what we ought to be outraged is that we have fine, patriotic Americans dying because we refuse to provide security commensurate with the turbulence in the region. And it is, in my opinion, it borders on criminal.
You know, Joe,
Isn't it the host country that's supposed to supply that?
The host country is the one that is supposed to keep their citizens from climbing the gates.
Okay, so that's why when they're shooting back with rubber bullets, that's why.
The interesting dynamic in Egypt, the protests kind of went on for about a day and a half until President Morsi said, "Okay, that's it. Put the cops out there, clean them out." Morsi is a member of the Muslim Brotherhood. He's the new president of Egypt. And he was caught between a rock and a hard place because most of his constituents are Muslim. The fact that film came out, he had to let his citizens vent. He had to let them vent for a while, get it out of their system. But you know, it's funny, these Muslim Brotherhood, these Islamists that are getting into political legitimacy, they're finding out it's a lot harder to do this job than they thought. They've got to maintain relations with the United States. And this comes back to that money thing again.
Yes.
All right? So he knew he had to let his citizens vent, but he also knew at some point he had to support the United States and get people away from that embassy, which he did yesterday. He started to clamp down. Now, the way this works is the host nation is responsible for security outside the embassy, all right?
Okay.
Once they get over the walls into the embassy property, which is considered the property of that nation. So, in other words, if they get over the wall and they're now on U.S. soil, then it's our responsibility to protect our diplomats, and that's where the Marines would come in. The Marines would not take action if they were outside the embassy premises. The Marines are there to protect if the threat is imminent and they come over. But, I mean, just the fact that we had no Marines on site there. Now, I'm still getting the details of the attack there in Benghazi, RPGs. Could X amount of Marines have stopped that assault? I don't know. I don't need the details, but I'll tell you what. Every Marine there would have fought to the last man to protect that ambassador and his staff.
That's right. And that's something else I was going to ask you about, Joe. And if we've got any listeners out there that do want to call in and speak to Joe or have a question for Joe, give us a call at 239-277-9600 or 775-9600. We can put you on the line with Joe if you got any questions. But back to that point, Joe. Why didn't we have it? The information that I saw coming through Drudge, and of course it's the media, so we don't have all the inside, intel like you might have. If the U.S. was aware that there was a possibility of this attack, why didn't they put extra security there? Why didn't they?
It goes beyond that. Even if there was no intelligence saying there was an attack, you're in a very unstable region that's experienced a lot of change. In this day and age, I don't think we should put any of our U.S. State Department people at risk. Now, what I read again in the media, in the print media, was that the Libyan government was uncomfortable with having Marines in Benghazi, and it asked us not to put it in there. And here's the thing. I have a little bit of an understanding of the Arab world, and one thing those Arabs respect is they respect force, and they respect the line being drawn in the sand, not to be trite. But when a country says to us, we don't want your Marines here, the U.S. response should be, look, we're the United States of America. We assisted you in throwing out the dictator, in moving you towards your freedom, and we do not leave our embassies unprotected. The Marines will be there. End of statement. What are you going to do about it?
Well, I agree with that. I mean, that's but here's the thing. Now, you mentioned earlier too that Morsi is part of the Muslim Brotherhood. Yeah. Now, is it not true that there's Al Qaeda in the ranks of the Muslim Brotherhood?
Well, yes, and let's just go back. The Muslim Brotherhood is the baseline Islamist organization from where all the others emerged and developed. So when you talk about Al Qaeda, Hamas, Hezbollah, the base organization from which all these kind of sprouted, yes, it is the Muslim Brotherhood, and President Morsi of Egypt is a member of the Muslim Brotherhood and was elected by popular vote. Here's what's funny: the Islamists have been watching the American democratic process, and here's what they've learned. The reason why Morsi won in Egypt, and the reason why the Islamist party Ennahda won in Tunisia is because they learned from us how to get out the vote. Now, here's the thing. They finally realized, having watched our political process, that winning an election is not about how many people vote. It's how many of your constituents you can get to the polls. And that's exactly what this guy did in Egypt. The turnout, he knew, was not going to be as high as people would have wanted, and they did a phenomenal job of getting their constituents out to vote. And that same thing happened in Tunisia, and you're going to have to see it again. They know the democratic process. They've watched how the Republicans and Democrats do these get-out-the-vote moves, and by God, if they didn't get themselves elected doing the same thing we do.
Hey, Joe, we're going to take a caller. I don't know if they want to come on with you, but we're going to take a caller right now on line 3, it looks like.
Go ahead, 3.
It's Paul, line 3. Paul, what you got, buddy?
Hey, how are you doing
Is this my
today?
buddy Paul?
Hi, Paul.
How are you guys?
Good. What you got for us today, Paul?
Hey, Jojo, as a typical American, which I consider myself to be a typical conservative American, I'm personally tired of us having to walk on eggshells when it comes to Muslims. And I think you're right. The only thing that they respect is force, which is something our president isn't currently using. And until we put our foot down and stop paying the bully our lunch money and get in there and kick some ass, we're never going to accomplish anything with the Muslim people. We shouldn't have to be worried about movies coming out about offending Allah and Muhammad and all these other gods of theirs. In that case, Monty Python would have been dead 10 times over.
What do you think about that, Joe?
No, I can understand where Paul's coming from.
He's frustrated, right? He's frustrated.
Yeah, and we're all frustrated. But I think what we have to put in
Paul.
perspective here, sir, is that perception becomes truth, especially because we're in such an immediate information environment. And really what's been coming out of the administration, I think reminding the Arab and the Muslim world that we respect all ethnicities and that we respect all religions, I don't see the reminder as being a weakness. I really don't. I mean, to reinforce American values at every opportunity, that's one thing that makes us uniquely American. Again, going back to what we said before, where I see the American weakness is not in reminding the Muslim world that we honor all ethnicities and religions. It's in not putting Marines at a consulate in an area that just had a revolution.
Why did that happen? That's what I asked a little bit ago. Why did we not have them there? What would be your best guess?
That's something you would have to ask Hillary Clinton. You'd have to ask our Secretary of State. And as I watched President Obama and standing next to him as the caskets rolled out from the ceremony, Hillary Clinton next to him, I would have loved to be able to walk up to her and say, the reason why you're here and these 4 bodies are passing by is that you didn't have the guts as the Secretary of State to protect your own people.
Wow,
and that's like I said,
that's pretty powerful. What do you think about that, Smitty?
We are not kowtowing, and we are not bending. I mean, and I got to say this, guys. I'm an independent here in Colorado. I vote for whoever the lesser of the two evils is. Unfortunately, every election. All right.
Yeah.
I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat.
I got you.
But let's not slam Obama for something that George Bush did almost ad nauseum after 9/11. How many times did George Bush get in front of the public and remind the Muslim world that we do not hate Muslims, that we are not against Islam, that we respect all people? Bush did it more than Obama's done it in the 4 years. Bush did it for 8 years.
And they certainly shouldn't think that we're weak. I mean, God knows we've been over there for 10 years bombing the heck out of everything. Obama's been droning the hell out of all the different jihadists over there, chasing them down.
You know that President Obama, one of his first directives to the intelligence community was, I want these people dead.
And he's been true to that word.
We have done more than 8 times the drone strikes. We have killed 10 times the leaders of al-Qaeda in the first 4 years of the Obama administration than George Bush took out in the last 8.
Let me ask you a question about that, Joe.
Yeah.
As far as the drone strikes go, is it possible, and I know statistics are statistics, but is it possible that we had that many more drone strikes now because maybe our drone technology has gotten better?
Oh, the drone technology, like any technology, has gotten better. The cameras get better, the weapons get more accurate. They can fly longer on station. But these are POTUS, President of the United States decisions, and how much to ramp up. And let me give you an example. Okay, one of the reasons why the Yemenis are pissed off at us is because they're tired of the drone strikes.
I could see that.
When we
I'd get a little tired of it too if I was them.
Well, yeah, I would be too if I was them. When we went into Abbottabad to get bin Laden, technically by the rules of the United Nations, we violated the sovereign airspace and sovereign. What we did was we invaded a sovereign country, Pakistan, to take him out. So when we talk about showing some cojones and flexing our muscles, I can give you several examples where under this current administration, I mean, when you invade another country to take out one individual, And I think we may have talked about this before. You remember that rescue mission under the Carter administration that failed?
The 3 helicopters crashing in the desert. I remember that.
Yeah, when after the Iranian Revolution, our embassy folks were taken hostage. That cost Jimmy Carter the election against Reagan. Now, Barack Obama is a very intellectual man. When he gave that order, and the only reason why they didn't bomb the compound and kill him is President Obama wanted DNA. He wanted proof to himself and the world, and had they dropped the bombs,
you wouldn't have been able to tell.
They wouldn't have had anything. But had that mission failed, like Jimmy Carter's mission failed, his presidency would have been ended. And he knew when he made that decision that his presidency was on the line. So say what you want about Democrats versus Republicans, and say what you want about Barack Obama, but he acted as a commander-in-chief, and he put the needs of the war and the expectations of his military and people ahead of his personal gain and his presidency. That was a very gutsy decision.
Speaking of his personal gain, what do you think about the backlash from the mothers and fathers from SEAL Team 6 that are pissed off at him now, and the State Department and the whole administration for naming not naming the individual men, but naming their team as being the one that took him out? And then we had the helicopter go down over there, and we lost 33 SEALs, or I mean, that's to me. Why are we doing that?
Well, if you read the new book, not No Easy Day by pseudonym Mark Owens, the former SEAL Team 6 member that wrote the book about the assault.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what he says is that there were details of the mission that they heard on the radio before they even got back in country after assaulting the compound.
Wow.
And the team that actually performed the mission was extremely upset that the details were being leaked, probably for political purposes. But again, if we had time to go back and research, this is not a Republican thing. It's not a Democrat thing. It's a political thing.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's always good. Now, to my knowledge, the actual names of the SEALs that were on the team have not been released. Were there some details of the mission and what went on and how we did it? Yeah. Would the SEAL community and a lot of us, rather that to me, I would have rather just say, look, he's dead. We got proof.
Yeah.
His body's in the ocean, and that's all you're going to get. But with sensationalism comes publicity, and with publicity comes votes.
That's true. That's true.
Thank God we have men like the SEALs that are willing to take on these impossible missions.
And I want to say something real quick before we go to break. I know Smitty was going to take us into the break here. I've got a good friend of mine. He's a former Ranger, working on a private military team. I'm not going to mention his name, but he's heading back over there on Monday and over to Iraq. And I just want to say that I wish him well. I hope he stays safe and keeps his head down. And Godspeed to him and his whole crew. Smitty, please take us into the break.
Yeah, we're going to take a real quick break here. If you guys want to call in after the break and ask Joe a question, please feel free to give us a call, 277-9600 or 775-9600. Joe Ruffini. Joe, you don't mind holding for a couple minutes, do you? Joe, you there?
I am.
All right, hold on, Joe. We're going to take a quick break.
Not a problem.
All right, bye.
96 K-Rock supports Southwest Florida's bikers with the Biker Map.
Hey, this is Chris from the Biker Map. The Biker Map is in over 500 locations, and if you can't find it, just go to thebikermap.com. The Biker Map.
Grab a copy by stopping by K-Rock Broadcasts, and always at the K-Rock Studios in Estero.
I just want to say thank you to Southwest Florida and all the advertisers for supporting all the motorcycle riders out there. The Biker Map. And be sure to be on the lookout for the all-new The Boater Map from 96 K-Rock and 96krock.com.
Securing your family, your business, your property. That's what's important in your world. No matter how big, no matter how small. Secure your world with Imperial Fire Alarm and Security today.
Imperial Fire Alarm and Security is a local company with hometown service, the way it should be. One call to Imperial will align you with the most effective fire alarm security and surveillance systems, as well as state-of-the-art wireless monitoring. If you're a property manager or condo association member, ask about Imperial's wireless monitoring systems to replace costly and unreliable phone lines and save your community thousands. From individual homes homes to large communities, Imperial Fire Alarm and Security can secure your world.
Don't you think it's time to secure your world? Imperial Fire Alarm and Security services Lee, Charlotte, and Collier counties. Learn more at imperialfiresecurity.com or to schedule your free consultation, call 239-288-6482. Secure your world at imperialfiresecurity.com.
License number EF2000046.
Southwest Florida knows that Duncan's Diamonds has the best prices, but it's their quality, selection, and excellent customer service that keeps customers coming back year after year. And Duncan's Diamonds customers have great things to say.
Their sales team is extremely helpful and knowledgeable.
I shopped at other jewelry stores. There's no place like Duncan's Diamonds. And I tell all my friends to come here every chance I get.
At Duncan's Diamonds, I found everything I was looking for. Great designers. I was awfully impressed with their Hearts on Fire diamonds and jewelry. You know, they're really amazing.
The customer service is excellent. You know, you're free to take your time and browse without being hassled, and all your questions are answered.
I've been to every chain jewelry store, department store, and independently owned stores. None of them beat Duncan's Diamonds prices. They are the best.
I had some jewelry to sell, and by far, Duncan's Diamonds paid me the most cash and paid on the spot.
Duncan's Diamonds puts your mind at ease. Best quality at the best price.
Discover Duncan's Diamonds, Fort Myers on US 41, and in the Gulf Coast Town Center, where you'll find the largest selection at the best prices in Southwest Florida.
Football season is here, so it seems like as good a time as any for another block party at Lansdowne Street, the Total Boston Bar.
Get your friends and head to the Lansdowne Street Block Party this Saturday, September 15th, starting at 11 a.m. There'll be lots of smoked pork, fried mullet, and live music all day long. Lots of beer specials, plus prizes up for grabs. The party happens all day long, so we'll see you Saturday at Lansdowne Street.
Now that's what I'm talking about.
And remember, Lansdowne Street is your place for all the college and pro football action. Enjoy $10 domestic buckets for all the games, $5 flavored vodka bombs, and special game day menus. Look for the green awnings on US 41 just south of Old 41 in Bonita, or come in off Strike Lane and come in the back door. For more, visit lansdowne-street.com.
Lansdowne Street, a Total Boston Bar.
Like us on Facebook, or to get more info, text Lansdowne to 41242.
And good luck, Alberto. We'll miss you.
I'm going to tell you some things I don't think the insurance industry is going to like. As lawyers at trial, there are things we can't say, and I don't think it's fair. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. We meet with people every day who've suffered terrible injuries on and off the job. We meet families who've lost loved ones suddenly and without warning. At trial, we're not allowed to say to juries, what if it was you? What if your mother, father, son, or daughter lost their life as a result of this conduct? What if your child suffered this way? What if your friend or coworker was treated so horribly? And guess what else? You, the juror, are not allowed to know if the wrongdoer had insurance. That's not right either. The next time you serve as a juror, ask yourself one final question before rendering justice. What if it was you? What if it was your child, your husband, your wife? Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com. Offices, Fort Myers and Naples.
Life's short, eat dessert first. Royal Scoop homemade ice cream.
Ice cream, ice cream.
Hey, what are you doing?
I am just trying to get more people to enjoy Royal Scoop homemade ice cream.
That place is awesome. You know they make all their ice cream right there, fresh every day.
I love their turtle sundaes. Rich hot fudge, creamy caramel, salted and roasted pecans, all on top of that award-winning vanilla ice cream. Yummy.
When it's this hot, I love their delicious hand-dipped milkshakes and their thick, rich malts. Did you know they also have over 25 fantastic lunch options?
No, I didn't know they did lunch.
Oh, yeah. They were voted the best place for soup and sandwich in the News Press Readers Poll. Join me for lunch, and that way we'll be in the perfect place for dessert.
That's a deal. Let's go.
Royal Scoop Homemade Ice Cream is located 8 blocks south of Bonita Beach Road off Vanderbilt Drive, serving up the area's best homemade ice cream since 1979, because quality never goes out of style.
Life's short, eat dessert first. Royal Scoop homemade ice cream.
Now back to the Ledge Radio Show with JD and Smitty on 96 K-Rock. Talk that rocks.
Phone numbers are 239-277-9600 or 775-9600. You can check out our live stream at theledgeradioshow.com. You can also find us on Facebook.com/The Ledge Radio Show. I just want to get into something real quick here. You know, Duncan's Diamonds in Fort Myers is where I go for all my diamond and jewelry purchases. I've shopped at many places, and Duncan's Diamonds prices were easily 25 to 50% below any other diamond and jewelry store. Never found a jewelry store like Duncan's Diamonds. People there are great, very helpful, and extremely knowledgeable. Duncan's Diamonds has the best selection, quality, and by far the greatest values at or below internet and wholesale prices. Good friend of mine took his old gold jewelry into Duncan's Diamonds. They paid him top dollar right on the spot.
Bam.
So, bam. So the next time you're looking for a quality diamond or amazing jewelry, go to Duncan's Diamonds and tell them JD from the Ledge Radio Show sent you. You won't be disappointed. Before we bring our guest back in, our on-call guest, I want to let Joe, our in-studio guest, he actually has a question for Joe. So, Sick Rick, let's make sure Joe's back on the line.
I am.
Okay, and Joe in studio, you got a question for him.
Yeah, I do.
Joe versus Joe.
Joe and Joe.
How are you, Joe?
I'm doing all right. What do you say to the Ron Paul type people that would talk about the blowback theory, as far as it's not so much strength or not strength? And I've read some pretty credible historical sources that would say that radical Islam is kind of a 20th century phenomenon to the British going over there and invading, like you said, sovereign nations. What's your whole take on that that theory?
Well, you know, I mean, when it comes to radical Islam, it certainly is rearing its ugly head. But if you look at some of the surveys and studies that are done by some of the very credible organizations, the UN, the Pew Research Center, I think what you'll find is that the vast majority of the probably 1.6 billion with a B Muslims worldwide are not radical, nor do they support Sharia law in their government, nor do they support the terrorist violence. Here's the way I look at it, Joe, and you know, you may disagree, but you know, there's 8 billion with a B people in the world. About 1.6 billion are Muslim. That's a lot of people. Now, if the majority of Muslims supported radical Islam, with 1.6 billion of them in the world, don't you think there would be a lot more violence than we're seeing?
I've actually traveled overseas. I lived in Western China. There's a lot of Muslims there. They don't even know this stuff goes on. So
because they're in China,
Indonesia. You know, most Muslims live in Asia, not in the Middle East. Most people have no idea. So I see where you're coming from, but
I mean, even here, you know,
a little faction can cause a whole lot of problems. And anything.
Well, you know, I mean, it is a problem. I don't think I really do think that over time the problem is going to go away, and two things are going to cause it to go away. And let me give you an example. Even though the ruling party now in Tunisia is President Marzouki is with the Ennahda party, which is considered to be a bit of a little more conservative, but still an Islamist party. They just had their constitutional convention there, and the citizens flat said, nope, Sharia law will not be part of the Tunisian constitution. And the ruling Islamist party and its president gave in to popular demand under, quote, this new representative form of government, and Sharia law has not become part of the new constitution. So, you know, I'm hopeful. I mean, I'm not totally convinced, but I'm hopeful that the will of the majority of the Muslim citizens in these countries will out. But you know, it's like any other movement. I think two things are going to cause it to die, Joe. Number one, I am firmly convinced that the majority of Muslims in this world are no different than the majority of Christians, Jews, Hindus, Buddhists, Druids, anybody else. Live and let live. You let me live my life the way I want to. You don't mess with me. I don't care how you live your life. Don't mess with you. And I really think people, by and large, they just want to live life. They want a better life for their kids than they had. And I think that, along with the fact that we are killing the bad guys by the truckload.
By the bushel.
What's that?
By the bushel.
As George Patton would say, by the bushel.
That's right. You know, that was in that Warrior song, boy. That was great.
But you know, I really do think that again, one of the challenges we have in this country, Joe, is I really think if the media did a better job of explaining what the perceptions were around the world and why these people have perceptions. And you know, the thing is, in the information age, perception becomes truth. So we as Americans can sit back here and say, wait a minute, we're not like that. Our government's not like that. Let me give you an example, okay? I think I'm probably about 15 pounds overweight. If you and I were to meet, Joe, and we were to get to talk about working out and stuff, and you look at me and you say, man, you need to lose some weight. and I look at you and say, no, I don't need to lose any weight. I'm in the best shape. No, you need to lose. We could argue that all day long. As long as I think I don't need to lose weight, but you think I do need to lose weight, arguing is not going to do any good. What I have to do is find a way to change your perception. You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
It's not a question of truth. It's a question of what is their perception and what is our perception. And we have an inaccurate perception because there is nobody at the federal government or the media level that actually tells us the difference between perception and truth, and then gives us the opportunity as mature adults to look at this and say, well, you know what, maybe I'm a little wrong here, or maybe I'm a little wrong there, or maybe I need to change my opinion. You see where I'm going with this?
Well, here's something, and I know Smitty's got a question for you, but before I get to and just a quick answer for this question, but you mentioned perception. Now, the American people and plenty others around the world have this perception that that if you're a Muslim, and especially if you're a devout Muslim, and I'm not sure what term they use, that they believe that either you're going to convert or kill other non-Muslim, other non-Islamists. So do these 1.4 billion Muslims in the world that don't support Al-Qaeda and so forth, do they not believe that? I mean, is that not what their book tells them to do?
That's an excellent question. Okay, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to compare the Muslim holy book, the Quran, with the Bible.
Okay.
You can read the Bible, and there's a quote in there, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth.
In the Old Testament. That's Old Testament.
You can also read out of the Bible, love thy neighbor as thyself.
Sure, that came in the New Testament.
You're going to love your neighbor, or every time he does something to you, you're going to beat up. Here's the point I'm saying is, in any holy book, there are dichotomies and there are conflicts, okay?
Okay.
I would submit that there's a lot of, as a matter of fact, I did a study once. As I do these seminars around the country, somebody said to me once, aren't there a lot of references in the Quran to killing the infidel? There are some references. But what I actually did was I went through the Quran and I went through the Bible. And this is a surprise to a lot of people. Lines in the Bible about, in other words, I don't have it in front of me. The Bible says if you're disrespectful to your mother and father, you need to be killed. There are more references in the Bible to burning, to killing, to reason why people should be killed if they don't do this or that than there is in the Quran. All right, you can do the research. It took me about 3 days to do that, but I did it. But here's the bottom line: in any holy book, you can either accept as verbatim or you can interpret. Okay, and again, if you take those few lines out of the Quran that says if you're not Muslim, you're the infidel. You're basically damned for eternity, and the infidel needs to be killed. Again, if most of the 1.6 billion Muslims actually took that to heart, we would be in a hurt.
I would agree.
But they don't. It's
I got you, Joe.
You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah, I follow you. Let me ask you a quick question, because we're running on a little bit short time here, but I got to ask you this. I know you said you're non-political, and I respect that. Just want to get your feed on when Romney was talking about it, he kind of looked to me like he was trying to get some points on the political end, trying to jump on the bandwagon and push the issue so he could, gain some favor with some people and, of course, get some votes. Should he have said anything at all, do you think? Or
he should have waited till the facts were in. He jumped the gun. And really, this is the responsibility of his advisors. And, he keeps going the way he's going. He's the one that's going to get Barack Obama reelected. If this is the best his advisors can do for him, the debates are going to – but here's the thing. There's an old saying, the first reports from the battlefield are never accurate. Okay? He came out and made the statement that he made, basically, smashing the current administration for what went on there, before he really had all the facts. What actually happened. You always wait until the dust settles. You get with your advisors, and I think maybe Mr. Romney still hasn't learned that, you need to wait and make sure you have all the facts. But
Hey, Joe. Is that kind of similar to when Barack Obama came out in support of his Harvard law buddy that was arrested by the cops at his own house, and he called the cops stupid? And
we're talking about these examples, and that's why I say the things we're talking about, they go on both sides of the aisle.
True.
These are not Democrat or Republican issues. Politics is politics. It doesn't change. It's a dirty game.
It is. What about
it's what you say and when you say it.
And nowadays, if you in politics, if you say you like apples, people will come back and say, "Oh, well, you don't like bananas." bananas?
Right.
I mean,
That's true.
it doesn't matter what you say.
You're always going to be wrong, right?
President George I said he didn't like broccoli,
Yes.
and he didn't eat it, and it wasn't served in his White House,
That's
and
right.
the broccoli lobby went ballistic.
Right.
And George Bush said exactly what I would have said. He said, "I'm the president of the United States. Damn it, I don't like broccoli, and I don't have to eat
I don't
it."
like cauliflower. I like broccoli.
End of discussion.
We've got, what do we got, 2 minutes left, Sickrit? Or we got 2 minutes? I got one little thing here. Now, obviously the other big issue in the media was when the embassy came out right after the attack, and the media jumped on board the message that, hey, we apologize to the Muslims for offending you with our video from this country. But was that really the issue? I mean, is that the whole reason why these people attacked?
No,
it sounds like it was more coordinated.
I mean, some were legitimately outraged. I think for a lot, again, it was just an excuse to get out here and do something they
Gotcha.
haven't been able to do. But I don't remember the statement being, "We apologize for the film." I honestly, I'd have to go back and look at it.
That was the reference to it. I mean, they basically, they didn't come out and say we apologize. They said something along the lines of, we want, we're sorry that it happened due to. Some idiots in our country that put out this film that offended Muslims.
I'll go back and look at it, but I believe what Hillary Clinton said officially on the part of the Department of State was, it's a horrible film. Basically what she said is it's a trash film. It is very insulting to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and Islam in general. And I think what the statement says, if we go back and look at it, is we do not support anything that degradates any religion.
I would agree with that.
I have to go back and look, gentlemen, but I don't think you will see the word apology in any official statement from our government.
Hey, Joe, we're coming up at the end of the first hour, and we really appreciate your time today and for staying with us for as long as you did. You had some really great information as usual. We appreciate you coming on with us.
We will be calling you back, Joe.
We will, man.
Anytime, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure. I love the discussion, and continued good luck with your show.
Thank you, buddy.
Absolutely,
So
Thank you so much.
Joe Ruffini, a counterterrorism expert, author of When Terror Comes to Main Street and the Real Warriors Manual, came on the line with us.
Very knowledgeable guy.
To discuss the Middle East issues right now. We're going to go into break. When we come back, we'll get into a new topic, the Ledge Radio Show with JD and Smitty.
It's all new, and there's nothing else like it on the radio anywhere.
Nothing tops it. No, nothing in sports tops that.
It's the Nick and Artie Show with Nick DiPaolo and Artie Lang.
They're going to try to make pole dancing part of the Olympics. No. Yeah.
It's our hilarious late-night look at sports and other guy stuff.
You get one job as a father to keep your daughter off the pole. Keep your daughter off the pole.
Check out the Nick and Artie Show.
Weeknights from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. on 96 K-Rock.
Securing your family, your business, your property. That's what's important in your world. No matter how big, no matter how small, secure your world with Imperial Fire Alarm and Security today.
Imperial Fire Alarm and Security is a local company with hometown service, the way it should be. One call to Imperial will align you with the most effective fire alarm security and surveillance systems, as well as state-of-the-art wireless monitoring. If you're a property manager or condo association member, ask about Imperial's wireless monitoring systems to replace costly and unreliable phone lines and save your community thousands. From individual homes to large communities, Imperial Fire Alarm and Security can secure your world.
Don't you think it's time to secure your world? Imperial Fire Alarm and Security services Lee, Charlotte, and Collier counties. Learn more at imperialfiresecurity.com or to schedule your free consultation, call 239-288-6482. Secure your world at imperialfiresecurity.com.
License number EF2000046.
Southwest Florida knows that Duncan's Diamonds has the best prices, but it's their quality, selection, and excellent customer service that keeps customers coming back year after year. And Duncan's Diamonds customers have great things to say.
Their sales team is extremely helpful and knowledgeable.
I shopped at other jewelry stores. There's no place like Duncan's Diamonds. And I tell all my friends to come here every chance I get.
At Duncan's Diamonds, I found everything I was looking for. Great designers. I was awfully impressed with their Hearts on Fire diamonds and jewelry. They're really amazing.
The customer service is excellent. You're free to take your time and browse without being hassled, and all your questions are answered.
I've been to every chain jewelry store, department store, and independently owned stores. None of them beat Duncan's Diamonds prices. They are the best.
I had some jewelry to sell, and by far, Duncan's Diamonds paid me the most cash and paid on the spot.
Duncan's Diamonds puts your mind at ease. Best quality at the best price.
Discover Duncan's Diamonds, Fort Myers on US 41, and in the Gulf Coast Town Center, where you'll find the largest selection at the best prices in Southwest Florida.
It's gun show time at Suncoast Gun Shows presents the giant Fort Myers Gun Show this Saturday and Sunday,
September 15th and 16th at Lee Civic Center.
It's your best chance ever to see and to save on over 400 tables filled with everything from the world of shooting, like rifles of all kinds for targets and hunting. See the latest in handguns from all the major manufacturers, which are all perfect for self and home defense, along with shotguns for trap and skeet, ammunition of almost every caliber, black powder gear, a wide variety of holsters, carry cases and bags, tons of accessories, telescope sights, laser sighting equipment, hard to find books, magazines, specialty items, and a wide variety of valuable collectibles. Again, you'll only find it at the giant Fort Myers Gun Show this Saturday and Sunday at the Lee Civic Center. You'll also enjoy an excellent selection of beautiful knives from pocket to Bowie, all at special gun show prices. Plus, concealed weapon permit classes will be held all weekend long. Don't miss the special deals at the giant Fort Myers Gun Show this Saturday and Sunday, Lee Civic Center.
Boy, I tell you, this weekend was crowded here. I don't know if so many of these folks came over to buy a car or they came over because those big football games have been on, watching our huge TV, that 103-inch TV.
I think I know which one. You know, the fall is not an ideal time to have to do your car shopping on a Sunday, but sometimes that's the only day of the week that you can get in. And not only are we open every Sunday here at Fusillo Kia, but we've got that 103-inch huge
the only
screen
one in Southwest Florida,
TV.
Caroline.
You don't have to miss a snap.
You were right, Caroline, when you said put that baby up on the wall because it would bring us more business. It definitely brought us business. I know that 50,000. The 50,000 was tough to swallow putting that TV up, but I'll tell you something, Caroline, it's definitely paid off because look at the volume we're getting every Sunday now. Folks come in, shop, they can watch it on that. It's huge, Caroline. Oh my God.
It's a huge screen TV.
No, it's really, that TV is huge.
We've always been drawn to the river. The river brings us life. Its soothing waters calm us, and its steady current helps guide us. Well, in Southwest Florida, there's a river just like that. River of Life Assembly of God. River of Life in Estero is a friendly, energetic church for all ages, helping connect generations to each other and to Jesus.
Hi, I'm Pastor Todd from River of Life. I want to personally invite you and your family to come join our family. We offer both Sunday morning and Sunday evening services. And every Sunday at 11 a.m., church time becomes family time during Legacy, our multi-generational worship service. So please be our guest this Sunday at River of Life Assembly of God, a place to come home to.
Learn more at riveroflife.ag or call 239-495-0400. Located at 21580 River Ranch Road, just south of Corkscrew and just north of Estero High School. So meet us at the river. River of Life Assembly of God in Estero.
From the huge studios, WRXK, Bonita Springs, Naples, Fort Myers, a Beasley Broadcast Group station, 96 K-Rock and 96krock.com. Talk that rocks.
Get off the ledge! Get off the ledge! This country sure as hell been going down the drain.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening.
Why should you want to know? Don't you mind about the future?
And now, live, unedited, unrehearsed, and unapologetic, brought to you by Duncan's Diamonds, your direct diamond importer. Straight off the ledge, it's JD and Smitty.
This is the Ledge Radio Show with JD and Smitty on 96 K-Rock. Phone lines are open, 277-9600. Or for the viewers around the world on the Ledge Cam, 239-775-9600. Check out the live stream at theledgeradioshow.com. You can also give us a like at Facebook, facebook.com/The Ledge Radio Show. Smitty, before I turn it over to you, I just want to give a little little plug to this event tonight, the Laid Back and Giving Back second annual all-night rock and blues bash. Come out and see Smitty. He's going to be there tonight, featuring a Smokin' Joe and Connie band.
Be gentle with me.
Guest appearances by Todd Hart and the Stars. Tonight, 6 p.m. till 11 at Jack's River Bar, 475 North Road, Naples. All night rock and blues, 50-50 drawing live auction, $10 to get in, includes barbecue. Donations from the raffle and auction benefit the foster children of Collier County. For more information, call 239-213-1441. All right, Smitty, what you got, man?
The second hour, we're going to be brought to you by Imperial Fire Alarm and Security for all your fire alarm and security needs. They also do CCTV and access control. That's Imperial Fire Alarm and Security, securing your world. You can call them at 288-6482. That's 288-6482, or check them out on Google.
All right, coming into this next hour, I've got a guest on hold right now, but I want to get to just a little funny clip because we had a real serious conversation last hour. Sick Rick, you got something queued up. This was just a little funny. Had one of these stage reporters at the DNC just asking generic questions to some of the folks at the DNC.
You still in the DNC?
It's just real quick, okay?
People getting attacked all over the world. Who wants to go back to the DNC?
It's just funny. Okay?
I'm going to bring in an empty chair and stand it over here, okay?
Could you? All right, Sick Rick, let's
so what do you think, Joe?
Quiet over there.
And just in general, what are your thoughts on socialism?
Socialism, I think, to me, it's American way.
I wish we had it.
It's not something that I really think about, I guess.
I don't know too much about socialism.
Socialism is a term that the other side throws out there to scare people.
Do we know what socialism is?
Our neighboring country, Canada, can do it. Third world country, also sort of a neighbor country. Cuba is doing it. European countries are doing it.
Socialism, what does that word mean nowadays?
What are your thoughts on socialism?
I think a lot of people don't understand what it is.
I'll tell you what is socialism. Socialism is when we have insurance companies that can dictate to us how much we are going to pay, who have no control at all. That's socialism.
It does not exist in the United States except in the minds of some weird-ass people on the right.
There is socialism
is that a technical term?
everywhere.
It's the socialist countries that are doing the best. I've just returned from Europe, and I'll tell you, people there are very happy.
It helps to look at what other countries are doing and see what they are, and see how they work for those countries, and see what we can learn.
The report came out that Cubans are living longer than Americans.
I mean, just because you give somebody something, is that socialism?
It is not socialism to advocate for universal health care coverage. Everybody in the United States do not have insurance, so we need to provide that. You have Canada that provides insurance to everybody, so why not us?
People in the States are not really aware of the wonderful medical system they have in Canada.
I like
Everybody seems to throw socialism around like they actually know what in the hell they're talking about.
They lack the understanding to know what it means.
You know, the banks are getting bailed out. That's socialism.
And I think the government has a role to step in when the economy is about to collapse.
Whenever the government can help, I think it should.
You must socialize in order to economize.
I like that one.
So if the government can step in and help, I think it's great.
That's as good as my Blakeling.
What was the word?
Economize.
All right.
Real people?
All right, they're the real people. No, that's the typical Barack Obama voter right there at the DNC.
So you say.
Literally.
So you say.
There's a video.
I'm sure they're all
Look
like
at
that.
the video.
And hundreds of thousands of millions of them, you probably picked the 10 best.
They were the 10 smartest.
Yeah, they were the 10 smartest.
All right, so check this out. So we've got another guest on the line with us today. Tarren Bragdon, President and Chief Executive Officer of the Foundation for Government Accountability. It's a research and advocacy organization committed to making Florida the most economically vibrant state in America. Just a real quick bio. In 2008, Tarren was named Chief Executive Officer of the Maine Heritage Policy Center, a free market think tank based in Portland, Maine. Under his leadership, the organization grew to become the largest state-based free market think tank on a per capita basis. In September 2010, it received the Thomas Rowe Award given annually by the State Policy Network to the individual with the greatest impact on the nation's free market movement. Tarren's on the line with us right now. Tarren, you there, buddy?
I am. It's great to be with you.
Hey, we appreciate you coming on this morning. I know that I met you once before at a small event in Old Fort Myers at Bill LaPlante's house, and you struck me as someone that just you have a lot going on. You're very in tune on the political pulse. from a lot of different spectrums. Well, why don't you kind of give us a little rundown of what you've been working on lately?
Sure. Well, I appreciate what you guys are doing with getting out the word, and it's a pretty tough act to follow some of those answers of what socialism is. So it's a bit of a setup to try to be entertaining when you had such funny responses.
I know.
Tarren, he lofted you a softball to hit. I mean, you can't get it served up any easier.
You got to forgive. You got to forgive Smitty, Tarren. He's the leftist in the room. Okay.
Well, one of the things we're focused on, which I think Smitty will like, is taking a look at how Florida Supreme Court judges have voted on some key votes. Here in Florida, we have the opportunity every 6 years to say yes or no that we want the Supreme Court justices to serve another term, another 6 years.
Okay.
And I think it's a good accountability thing.
And this is the merit retention thing, right?
This is. So it's on the statewide ballot, which this year is enormous. But people can take a look at these judges, and we think one of the best ways to take a look at the judges is the same way that you would take a look at politicians, and that's to look at how they vote. And so we'll be releasing a report in just a couple weeks that highlights some of their key votes. And I thought if you're up to it, we could talk about one or two of them.
Absolutely. Well, I want to tell the folks out there, when you release this report, is it going to go to your website, or are you putting it on the news? How are you doing it?
Well, we'll be releasing it at a press conference in Tampa, and we're partnering with a bunch of different organizations, so there'll be a lot of media around it.
And for the folks out there that don't think so much, they don't think about the implications that judges have on our laws, on our society, because that's something that when people go to the polls to vote, and I have to admit I'm one of them. I know about a lot of the bigger races, but even like say the local races, even here down Fort Myers, Naples area, you see the judge on the ballot. You don't really know what they've done, what they voted for, who they're not voted for, but how they stand on different laws. So it is important. I mean, just let tell the folks as we're going through these couple of items here how important it is to have judges that are following the Constitution of the state of Florida.
Well, that's exactly why we're trying to get this information out there. It is an important branch of government. It's the third branch of government, if you will, and they are tasked with enforcing the laws and interpreting the laws that have been passed by the legislature and administered by the governor. But oftentimes, we just don't hear about what they're doing, and many times people don't appreciate that the Supreme Court can invalidate a law that's been passed by the legislature or an action of the governor.
Okay.
And so one of the things we want to highlight is a case from last year that deals with eminent domain, or basically how much power does government have to impact the value of your land and what you can do with reselling your land. And this is a case that took 17 years to get to the Supreme Court. And in this case, there was this man who wanted to develop 14 acres of his land.
Of his own land?
Of his own land.
Okay.
And he had to apply for some permits to do that. And what the water district said to him, because these were permits from the water district said to him that they would only allow him to develop his land if he gave them some of his land, some of his other land, or if he reduced his development project down to 1 acre and deeded the rest of the land over to conservation.
That is,
and so,
but now that's not an isolated incident, is it? I mean, I've seen this, in working with the county, years ago for a few years. I saw things like this occur, even at county level, where you get a developer come in and he wants to put in a shopping mall or whatever, condominium complex, whatever it might have been, and they've got all those studies. You got the DEP, the EPA, the Swift Mud. You got all these different groups involved that try to throw up as much red tape as they can to either tell them why they can't build, to make them build these lakes and rivers and watersheds and plant 500,000 new trees that weren't even on the property to begin with. But that's just my rant. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're absolutely right. And what happens here, though, people, we all understand eminent domain or the ability of government to force you to sell your land for the purpose of building a new road, sometimes for putting up a government building. And as long as you're just adequately compensated, paid for that land, then that's a proper role of government, and frankly, we wouldn't have straight roads if it weren't for that governmental power. So we all understand there's a balance here between what is appropriate for government to do and what is really government action devaluing your land and giving you no compensation for it.
Yeah, well,
because if you don't do what they tell you, they will just take it from you.
Is that what will happen? I mean, Tarren, has that happened before, where if you just can't agree, you can't get to a figure, or even if you're even allowed to negotiate, are they allowed to just eventually just take it?
Well, what happened in this particular case, this dealt with what is called regulatory taking.
Okay.
Or what if government devalues your land not because they're trying to build a road on it, but because they regulate it in a way that all of a sudden it's worth less because of what somebody can or cannot do with it.
You mean like if they...
And what kind of limits does government
zoning
have on doing that?
You mean like through zoning, or like through the government saying it's a marshland now? Something like that?
Exactly. Both of those are prime examples.
Okay. All right. So how did this case shake out? I mean, what did this guy end up having to do?
Well, what happened is a lower court ruled that the government was wrong and that they had to pay him about $350,000 in compensation for his land because they reduced the value of it. And then it goes all the way up over 17 years to the Florida Supreme Court, and the court overturns it.
Really?
And the 3 judges who are on the ballot this fall, 3 of the 7 Supreme Court justices who are on the ballot, all voted on behalf of government, not on behalf of the property owners. And they said, look, government can regulate away the value of your land this way. They don't have to pay you for it. And frankly, your private property rights were a lot less important than you thought they were.
They just take it, like I said.
So our Supreme Court judges, 3 of them, voted, elected to say that they would agree with the government that they can just devalue the land without proper compensation. I mean, that's the bottom line.
Exactly. And think about this. It took 17 years for this case to make its way all the way up to the Supreme Court. In fact, the original landowner died, and it was his son.
That must have been some really, really valuable land to go 17 years and put up that kind of fight to get that land. I don't know where it was,
well, think
but
about
it must be pretty valuable.
Even if it wasn't that valuable, this is guy's property. I mean, the guy maybe owned it his whole life.
I know, but 17 years to put up a battle to try to get it from a guy, the government, they probably could have said, well, it's 17 years, let's move on, but they didn't.
What was this? What was the significance of this land, Tarren? Was there a specific significance to the government even needing this land? Do you remember?
No, it dealt with wetlands, like what you talked about, adjacent to the water district. And so it was really dealing with how the land could or could not be developed based on
the watershed and all that
property in the watershed. Yeah.
What
sounds like a personal grind. Somebody had a personal grudge against this guy. I was not going to let him go. It sounds like.
But this is not. It's not an isolated case. I swear I've seen this stuff over and over and over with the different water boards and the DEP. I mean, literally, and I don't know if they just have a...
It's happened out here in Everglades. There's some properties that the guys have sat on.
I remember that.
It's a huge problem.
Yeah.
A lot of the property
guys have been there for 200 years, and it's been their families, and the guy's been out there, and they tried to move him out. I think he went to the court, and correct me if I'm wrong, Tarren, but I think they finally said, okay, while you're there, we just can't touch you because, you're there and you've been there for 200 years.
It was a lot of acres, though, wasn't it? Wasn't it like 30,000 or was it that many or like 460 or something?
I remember he had this little hut out there, and he said, this is my property and I own it, and I'm not moving. And finally they
did they kick him out?
No,
or
he said, as long as you're there, you can't do anything with it, you can't sell it, it's just basically your property. Then they kind of handcuffed him.
Wow.
But it's the same example. You have land that did have value.
Sure.
But if you can't resell it, it has no value. Or if somebody who buys it can't do anything with it, all of a sudden the government has taken an asset. It would be like if they went into your garage and took away your car.
Yeah.
You could sell it.
They can have mine,
but they couldn't drive it or have it.
They can't drive mine, it's broke.
Well, Tarren, we're going to have a break here in just a second, but I want to. Are you able to hold through the break for us?
Sure.
All right, and before you go, do you have in front of you those judges' names by chance?
I do. It's Barbara Parente, Fred Lewis, and Peggy Quince.
Barbara, Fred, Peggy, and they're going to be on the ballot this election cycle.
Exactly. They'll be on the ballot in November.
Okay. All right, Tarren, just hold through the break. Anybody want to call in that has a question about any kind of property rights or the merit retention issue coming up on the ballot, call in. You can talk directly to Tarren, 239-277-9600, 775-9600. Les Radio Show with JD and Spitty. We'll be right back.
Adrenaline, a chemical that runs through the body, increasing your heart rate and triggering excitement.
Hey, baby, let's go out and have some fun.
Hear Dolphins football here on 96 K-Rock.
Presented by Bud Light.
Catch every play, every comment,
Touchdown, Dolphins!
everything that makes Miami Dolphins football fantastic.
Presented by Bud Light. Brought to you by Shula Steakhouse, Bull Camper Sports Bar and Grill, Great Southern Products, and Executive Electronics of Southwest Florida.
96 K-Rock.
Securing your family, your business, your property. That's what's important in your world. No matter how big, no matter how small, secure your world with Imperial Fire Alarm and Security today.
Imperial Fire Alarm and Security is a local company with hometown service, the way it should be. One call to Imperial will align you with the most effective fire alarm security and surveillance systems, as well as state-of-the-art wireless monitoring. If you're a property manager or condo association member, ask about Imperial's wireless monitoring systems to replace costly and unreliable phone lines and save your community thousands. From individual homes to large communities, Imperial Fire Alarm and Security can secure your world.
Don't you think it's time to secure your world? Imperial Fire Alarm and Security services Lee, Charlotte, and Collier counties. Learn more at imperialfiresecurity.com or to schedule your free consultation, call 239-288-6482. Secure your world at imperialfiresecurity.com.
License number EF2000046.
The nicest used cars anywhere in the country are right here in Naples. And they're all on NaplesUsedCars.com. Hundreds of extra clean, low-mileage used cars at a fraction of their original prices. All makes, all models, like a nearly new loaded Mercedes C350, just $32,997. That's half the price when new. Looking for a sporty BMW 3 Series? Get one loaded for only $16,799. And don't forget the classic American luxury of a Lincoln MKZ luxury sedan for just $14,999. Hundreds of quality pre-owned cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs in stock. Browse at your own pace, 24 hours a day. Get your trade value, your interest rate, your down payment, your monthly payment. Even fill out your credit app online. Plus, we'll buy your car even if you don't buy one of ours. Visit NaplesUsedCars.com. That's NaplesUsedCars.com.
Plus tax, tag, and title fees, sponsored by Germain.
Shoeless Joe's, Fort Myers Sports Cafe, is your place for football. And this weekend, it's a tailgate party with lots of specials hot off the grill. Saturday and Sunday starting at noon. Don't forget, weekend happy hour from 4 till 8 p.m. and weekday happy hour 11 till 7. And don't miss Shoeless Joe's Fall Beer Summit, September 19th, featuring a gourmet 5-course meal and selection of 5 fall beers. $50 per person. Reserve your seats now at Shoeless Joe's in the Crown Plaza behind the Bell Tower Shops.
Rock Solid wants you to be our customer. Rock Solid Countertops and More is your supermarket for countertops, flooring, and cabinets. And right now, for a limited time, our suppliers are offering us outrageous deals, and we want to pass the savings on to you. So come find huge granite savings on a huge selection of countertops with one-stop shopping on granite, marble, and quartz, plus flooring and cabinet fabrication. Complete granite kitchens from $9.99 installed. All Rock Solid products offer affordable quality for life. Rock Solid will not be undersold. Bring us your best offer and we will beat it. Hurry in now. We want you to save because Rock Solid knows you work hard for the money. Off Airport Pulling on JNC Boulevard in Naples. When coming to see us, look for the Superman sign guy. Call 596-7676, 596-7676, or visit hugegranitesale.com. Rock Solid Countertops and More. It's really big.
Duncan's Diamonds in the Gulf Coast Town Center wants to introduce you to Pandora. From September 13th through the 16th, receive a sterling silver Pandora clasp bracelet with your purchase of $100 or more of Pandora jewelry. Duncan's Diamonds in Fort Myers on US 41 and in the Gulf Coast Town Center, where you will find the largest and best selection of diamonds at or below internet and wholesale prices. Duncan's Diamonds in the Gulf Coast Town Center and US 41 1/2 mile south of Page Field.
What you've just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point
in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Now back to the Ledge Radio Show with JD and Smitty on 96 K-Rock.
Welcome back. Phone numbers are 239-277-9600 or 775-9600. You can check out our live stream at theledgeradioshow.com. You can also find us at facebook.com/The Ledge Radio Show. If you'd like to advertise during this show for our new primetime slot every Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon, visit our website, contact us for details. We've been talking with Tarren Bragdon, who's the president and CEO of the Foundation for Government Accountability. It's a research and advocacy organization committed to making Florida the most economically vibrant state in America. We've got Tarren back with us. Tarren, you there, buddy?
I am.
All right. You know, Tarren, during the break, we had another caller call in. We've got Brian on line 2, and he wants to chime in, so we're going to put all of us on at the same time, okay?
All right.
All right, Brian, are you there with the Ledge Radio Show?
Hey, buddy, how's it going?
Good, man. What you got for us?
Stalker.
Okay, thanks, buddy.
Hey, I think you're talking about eminent domain. Is that what you're talking about, where the government comes and takes property for a specific reason?
Yes.
Is that what you guys are talking about? And when the government does that, they do it and they give you fair market value. So what the fair market value was back 17, 15 years ago, or even 7 years ago, I mean, it's different than what it is today.
That's true.
The guy might not like the deal he was getting 17 years ago, and then all of a sudden the property value is to the roof, and he thinks, I should get some crazy deal, and the government did, and the school board and a lot of other government agencies bought property at these exorbitant amount of prices, and now these properties are worth, an eighth of what they were at one point. I mean, we would love to say that you could just build wherever you want and do whatever you want. Unfortunately, it's not the Wild Wild West anymore. There's not 17 million people in the country, and there's still massive amounts of land. We have 400 million people. There has to be some kind of order. There has to be some kind of regulation. It can't just be Wild Wild West, everybody carrying their guns around, and there has to be some kind of government. I know everybody hates the government and hates taxes, but all these things, roads, bridges, schools, all these things cost money.
Well, Brian, I don't think Tarren's saying that we don't want government to help regulate these items. What he's saying is basically that the Florida Supreme Court,
the guy got railroaded.
Yeah, three judges sided on the side of government instead of on the side of the people and property rights. I mean, this is in America we have property rights, at least in Florida we have property rights.
I didn't catch the whole story, so
sure.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Probably.
Why didn't he take the deal back 17 years ago?
Well, Tarren,
it wasn't. If I can just clarify, I think Brian, you are talking about something that's different than this case. This wasn't a case with eminent domain where the government took his land and there's a debate with the landowner over how much is a fair amount to pay me for my land. This is a case where government regulation said you can all of a sudden no longer develop this part of your land and it has no value. Or if we're going to let you develop your land, you have to give us some of your land in return, and we're not going to pay you for it. And so the landowner sued saying, no, I have rights as a property owner, and my land has value, and you can't take away that value and not compensate me for it. And the Florida Supreme Court and these three judges on the ballot this November said, no, government can do that, and they don't need to write you a check at all. It's not about how much was your land worth today or yesterday or 17 years ago. It's can government take away the value of your land and not give you a dime for it.
No, and that's a good explanation of it, right there, Tarren. And we've actually got another caller on the line. It actually it comes up on my screen as Stalker, line 3, so he wants to chime in. We got Stalker on the Ledge Radio Show with Tarren.
Hey, good morning. This is Stalker calling from the Cape.
Go ahead, man. What you got?
Hey, first I have to disagree with the previous liberal that just called in. The government needs to follow the Constitution and be limited. We don't need government in every facet of our life.
I know who this
is. What at least JD and I stand for. Of course, Smitty wants the government to wipe his butt for him. But
I would prefer you do it, Paul.
That's okay, Smitty. That's okay.
All right, so what's your question, Paul?
My question is, the government a few years ago seized 1033 gold coins. I'm sure you remember this story. They were found in a state deposit box. Owners brought it to the Federal Reserve to have them authenticated. Found out they are real. The government seized them, kept them. Said, hey, these were supposed to be melted down. We're going to keep them. Well, they sued. They lost. They appealed. They lost. The bottom line is, in a previous case where somebody had a 33 gold coin, the government agreed to split those profits with that person to the tune of $7.5 million for one coin. But in this case, the government said, nope, we're going to keep it all. How come there's no consistency with the government when it comes to the 33 gold coin issue?
Are you familiar with that, Tarren? Talking about the 1933 coin, where the government seized the coins, had them melted down or whatever they're going to do with it.
Roosevelt ordered it.
Yeah. So what's your thought on that, Tarren, for Stalker on line 3, Paul?
Well, I think it's
Thanks, Paul.
the same kind of issue. It's the same kind of issue. Can government just arbitrarily take your property without compensation for it? We all understand that there are very legitimate purposes of government, like building a road, where government needs to be able to force somebody to sell their land at a fair price. But this comes down to a basic respect for property rights, whether it's gold coins property or whether it's land property. You can't have the rule of law be whatever some government official decides to pass by regulatory edict or by their arbitrary action, in the case of the gold coins, and all of a sudden they keep for themselves what I paid for and what I bought for myself.
That's true. Well, that was one case you'd mentioned for this gentleman here with the 14 acres. Was there another? You mentioned there might have been a second another issue that you were also going to bring up about maybe another case.
Well, just briefly, this gets into the Florida Supreme Court really respecting the will of the voters.
Sure.
It deals with a case a few years ago, but back in 1998, the Florida legislature put a constitutional amendment on the ballot that said, we want to put in the Constitution that Florida has the right to extract the death penalty punishment for capital crime. And so this question went out to the voters in 1998, and 73% of Florida voters voted yes. So
Okay.
regardless of what you think of the death penalty, this is a case where you had an overwhelming majority of voters
super
say,
majority.
yes, we approve the constitutional amendment.
Sure. And
Well,
what was the outcome of that one? I mean, that does speak volumes, doesn't it?
Well, what happened is somebody sued and said, well, the wording of the question on the ballot was confusing. And so in 2000...
Were they from West Palm?
It must be from Immokalee.
No, it was West Palm. They're Chads. They're little ticket Chads.
Hanging Chad,
the hanging
man.
Chads.
Well, and this is the deal. They said the language of the question said preserving the death penalty because that was already in Florida law. This was just enshrining it in the Constitution.
Okay.
And so the Florida Supreme Court said the word preserving was confusing to voters. We are invalidating a constitutional amendment that's already in the Constitution, and the 7 of us are voting, or in this case, it was only 4 of the 7 voted to invalidate what literally millions of Florida voters did at the polls.
So,
and this is how powerful the court can be.
Absolutely. Well, and it goes to same way at the federal level, but just speaking on the state level, I guess I never even noticed the Florida Supreme Court justices even on the ballot. I mean, maybe it was something as a when I was a younger guy I didn't pay attention to, but it sounds like it's something we need to pay attention to these days.
You just need to make it a little bit more clear. Do you want to kill the guy or not? That's it. Just ask him flat out.
Well, like what's his name? Ron White said, in Texas, if you kill somebody, we will kill you back.
That's pretty much self-explanatory. You thumbs up or thumbs down. Like the Romans used to do.
He says
he lives or he dies.
Other states are getting rid of the death penalty. In Texas, they're putting it in express lane.
We're second. We're second in the nation in Florida.
Are we?
Yeah, we're second.
Second to what?
Second to killing people quicker.
Sweet.
Yeah.
At least we're second to something.
Yeah, we are. It's always good to be number 2.
Well, Tarren, you've got a lot of information on this. I don't want to cut you off, but we're getting close to one of our breaks coming up here in a few moments. You have time to eat.
No, I appreciate your time, and our whole goal is we just want to get this information out there. That's
Absolutely.
why we're releasing a report in a couple of weeks, and we just want people to think about it before they vote. Yes, keep this judge, or no, let's replace them. They should know what decisions the judge made, and does that align with their own values.
I can certainly appreciate that.
Feel free to come to our webpage, Tarren, and post your opinions on there.
Yeah, I've actually got a blog page on theledgeradioshow.com. If you'd like to post something on our webpage, we can, our listeners can go to it and they can see more about it as well. Because I want people to be more informed. Whatever it is, I'd like them to be more informed.
I won't block you or Paul, either one of you.
Okay. Hey, Tarren.
Well, I didn't think you supported censorship, Smitty.
No, I don't. I know.
No, he says I do. That's
Paul
all.
came in here last week, and he's a friend of JD's, and we have vast differences, some things. But I got to tell you, Paul came here last week, and he really showed his true colors. He unzipped himself and pulled him out and showed the world who he was.
He unzipped himself.
Yeah, he did. His whole soul. He just pulled it out and pulled it out and showed who he really was. And I think we should applaud him for that.
It out.
Well, that sounds like a tough act to follow.
Hey, Tarren, we really appreciate it, buddy. We'll get back in touch with you because there's plenty more where that came from coming up until November. So thanks for being with us today, buddy.
My pleasure.
All right, take care. Right. So that's it in a nutshell. I mean, that's something I didn't even know about. It was that? Did you know anything about this, Smitty?
Eminent domain?
No, not eminent domain, but about these Florida Supreme Court justices even being on the ballots.
No,
I had no idea.
I had no idea about that. And that's the good thing about having a show like this. People can come in and expose some of the
themselves.
Yeah, expose themselves
like
Paul, because he showed everybody what he really was.
Are you saying if people went to the video from last week, they would see Paul?
Oh, please! I highly encourage it. Go to the website www.theledgeradioshow.com and look at last week's show and enjoy it. Enjoy it.
I don't think you're going to see what Smitty's alluding to.
Oh, you'll love it. It's great.
Well,
that's great. And by the way, if you're hungry today, call in the radio show 277-9600 or 775-9600. I'm going to give away a coupon for some food at Mel's, and it'll help you guys out if you're out.
You got a coupon?
I got a coupon.
How much is it? How much is it worth?
It's $20.
So why don't we just go after the show?
No, that's not how it works.
What do you mean? We're not allowed to participate?
I'm liberal, okay? So we're not going to railroad you. So we just call in, and just tell Billy you want those doggone things, and we'll give it to you. And you can go to Mel's and
So what are you saying? Like the first caller that calls in is going to get free Mel's?
First caller. I'm not going to mess around anymore.
All right.
You don't even have to call in and agree or disagree. Just call in and say I want the coupons.
The coupons, but you got to say the word. You got to say it like
you got to say
coupon.
coupons. That's right. You got to say
like
coupons.
You're from India. Coupon. Give me a coupon.
That's it.
All right. 277-9600. When we're going to go to break here in a few seconds, but when we get back, we want to talk a little bit about the Chicago Teachers Union strike.
Yep.
All the implications of that, and one reason I brought Joe in here today as a special guest. Joe's a former teacher.
Yep.
Right. How long were you a teacher, Joe?
Off and on, probably 7-8 years.
Okay, so just long enough to know to get out, or
absolutely,
just enough to get a feel of it.
Never, no support.
7-year itch.
Public schools, no support for it.
We'll come right back and talk to Joe about that.
All right, guys, we'll be right back.
You never know what we're going to say or do. Take 96 K-Rock wherever you go with the iRadio Now app.
iRadio Now.
Available for free on all smartphones, including Android. The biggest personalities in radio entertainment. Available on one app.
iRadio Now.
The iRadio Now app for all smartphones.
Just go to the App Store and search iRadio Now. And download it for free.
Brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District, Coconut Point.
Visit 96krock.com for more information.
iRadio Now.
96 K-Rock.
Securing your family, your business, your property. That's what's important in your world. No matter how big, no matter how small, secure your world with Imperial Fire Alarm and Security today.
Imperial Fire Alarm and Security is a local company with hometown service, the way it should be. One call to Imperial will align you with the most effective fire alarm security and surveillance systems, as well as state-of-the-art wireless monitoring. If you're a property manager or condo association member, ask about Imperial's wireless monitoring systems to replace costly and unreliable phone lines and save your community thousands. From individual homes to large communities, Imperial Fire Alarm and Security can secure your world.
Don't you think it's time to secure your world? Imperial Fire Alarm and Security services Lee, Charlotte, and Collier counties. Learn more at imperialfiresecurity.com or to schedule your free consultation, call 239-288-6482. Secure your world at imperialfiresecurity.com.
License number EF2000046.
Southwest Florida knows that Duncan's Diamonds has the best prices, but it's their quality, selection, and excellent customer service that keeps customers coming back year after year. And Duncan's Diamonds customers have great things to say.
Their sales team is extremely helpful and knowledgeable.
I shopped at other jewelry stores, but there's no place like Duncan's Diamonds.
And I tell all my friends to come here every chance I get.
At Duncan's Diamonds, I found everything I was looking for. Great designers. I was awfully impressed with their Hearts on Fire diamonds and jewelry. You know, they're really amazing.
The customer service is excellent. You know, you're free to take your time and browse without being hassled, and all your questions are answered.
I've been to every chain jewelry store, department store, and independently owned stores. None of them beat Duncan's Diamonds prices. They are the best.
I had some jewelry to sell, and by far, Duncan's Diamonds paid me the most cash and paid on the spot.
Duncan's Diamonds puts your mind at ease. Best quality at the best price.
Discover Duncan's Diamonds, Fort Myers on US 41, and in the Gulf Coast Town Center, where you'll find the largest selection at the best prices in Southwest Florida.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
I love the weekends. You can't beat the beach. The sand, the hot sun.
Todd, when was the last time you were at the beach?
Jace, while you and I are at the Diamond District all weekend, there are some people who go to the beach. And I'm just saying how nice that must be.
And after the beach, if you're in the market for a diamond, you won't find a better value or diamond buying experience than the Diamond District.
In Estero at Coconut Point, with diamond prices at or below the internet.
At the Diamond District.
Get ready for a whole lot of football this season with the Florida Lottery's fantastic college football promotion. You could win fantastic prizes, including a bowl game trip, season tickets, an away game trip, or $10,000. Each time you purchase a single $10 or more Florida Lotto ticket, you'll receive a voucher to enter into your team's drawing on the lottery's website throughout the football season. Show your team spirit by playing Florida Lottery's fantastic college football promotion.
I want to ask you a question. Do you know what a tort is? And no, it's not a pastry. Do you know what tort reform is? Let me tell you. It's when insurance companies, corporate polluters, and makers of unsafe products try to limit your rights under our Constitution. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. And here's the worst part. They think we're so stupid we'll do it to ourselves. The next time you hear a politician talk about tort reform or frivolous lawsuits, know for almost certain that they are bankrolled by insurance companies and big businesses who want to avoid accountability and responsibility. No, they don't represent you or your family. Their promise, insurance rates will go down. Have yours ever gone down? And we've had years and years of tort reform. Remember this. It's frivolous until it's you or your family. Morgan & Morgan, for the people, our Constitution, and our civil justice system. Offices, Fort Myers and Naples.
KiaCredit.com. That's what it's all about, Caroline.
That's right. It's about the web of happiness. HugeKiaCredit.com is your go-to site for financing, and there's no better financing than through Fusillo Kia right here in Cape Coral. That's because Billy handles it himself. You just log on to HugeKiaCredit.com. You select the Cape Coral location at the bottom of the screen. You can find all the financing options available. You know, you can even apply for pre-approval before you come see us.
Caroline, this is the month, too. I'm here the remainder of the month, and I'm working the banks myself, and you know I get very aggressive. Also, HugeKiaCredit.com. It's that easy, folks. Go online right now, apply. I'll tell you something, it gets better and better every month here, Caroline. It just keeps coming and coming and coming, and people realize during this economic recovery period that this value Kia vehicle, it adds up to being what, Caroline? Caroline!
Well, Billy.
Say something.
Okay, how about huge?
Unfiltered, unbridled opinions and giving Southwest Florida a voice. It's the Ledge Radio Show with JD and Smitty on 96 K-Rock. Talk that rocks. Talk that rocks.
Welcome back to the Ledge Radio Show with JD and Smitty on 96 K-Rock. The phone numbers are 239-277-9600 or 775-9600. You can check out our live stream at theledgeradioshow.com. You can also find us at facebook.com/The Ledge Radio Show. Just one more quick reminder. Tonight we got the Laid Back and Giving Back event, All Night Rock and Blues Bash, featuring the Smokin' Joe and Connie Band. You can check out Smitty. He'll be there.
Get her done. Get her done.
Hopefully he'll be representing well with a Ledge shirt on.
Any shirt will do.
Yeah, as long as you got a shirt, it'd be great. Special appearances by Todd Hart and the Stars tonight, 6 till 11 at Jack's River Bar, 475 North Road, Naples.
Come on by and say hi, man. Be pleasant, though. Don't be mean.
$10 ticket, get you barbecue. They got 50-50 live auction. All donations from the raffle.
I'm all about the 50-50 now. I like that.
I know you are. But, you know, if I win, I would win. So
you would. You win last time like 3 times.
I know. Donations from the raffle and auction benefit the foster children in Collier County. You can call 213-1441 for more information. So right before the break, Smitty, he's giving away stuff. He already gave away his Mel's passes.
I did, man. Thanks for Mel's Diner for giving us those. I appreciate that, Romy. You're the man.
All right, yeah. And we also mentioned before the break that we're going to get into the Chicago teachers unions, and I'm sure that filters into a lot of other teachers unions or just teachers in general, the kids and so forth.
Before you talk about the unions with Joe, because Joe's going to come at me real hard here,
Okay.
I'm just going to make one disclaimer. All the unions are different. So before you start smashing the union, teachers union, you have the firefighters, you have the police, you have all different kinds. AFL-CIO is different from the Teamsters, you've got the IBEW. There's a whole bunch of different unions. So let's just, because people hear that and they generally just think one union, and that's the status quo for all of them, and
Right.
it's not. That's all. So
All right, well, here's just hot off the press.
Go ahead.
This is your favorite boy right here. I know you hate him the most. Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh advanced a surprising hypothesis.
I'm surprised he hasn't built a temple.
A temple for people to worship
Yeah,
him?
for temple to worship
It's called
him.
the EIB network, man,
Yeah.
on the golden microphone.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Anyway.
Is that between his Oxycontins and not?
Maybe. Hey, what, Mr. Pain Med? What do you want? No,
man.
All right,
I
listen.
live off of them.
Listen. So on his radio show yesterday regarding the motivation behind the current teachers union protests plaguing the Chicago area, specifically, Limbaugh argued the union protests are being allowed to go on as long as they have so that they could become a manufactured crisis, allowing President Barack Obama to sweep in, look like the hero by negotiating an end to the standoff. Why are the teachers in Chicago going on strike? Limbaugh asked. So Obama can solve it as a campaign issue. What say you, Joe?
I think that's probably crap.
Joe, I
Man, that
love
was
you,
quick,
Joe.
though. He's
I
like,
love you.
Non-issue.
Non-issue.
Yeah, that's just Rush, man. Come on,
Well, here's the thing, though. You got Obama's number two, Rahm Emanuel, as the mayor
Yeah, that's
in
actually
Chicago.
interesting. Chicago's protesting him.
They are, but there's something's not right with this
Chicago's
thing,
never
man.
been squeaky clean.
No,
man.
it's the most corrupt city for politicians in the whole
New
country.
York, Chicago, they kind of run neck and neck,
Which is fitting for Rahm Emanuel, since he worked for Obama, to go to the most corrupt city in the country to remain the
He
most
was
city.
from Chicago.
Exactly. Well,
Okay.
although it was hard for him to get on the voter roll, since the house he owned was like a rental, and it was like a lot of stuff where they had to kind of pay to get on the ballot.
I'm sure that a lot of politicians do that.
Possibly so. So anyway, the big thing here is you got like 400. They say between 350,000 to 400,000 kids out of school because a public employees union, a teachers union, has gone on strike because they don't make enough money.
Well, they're about to make an agreement.
Hang on. And I'm sure they will. There's
No, it's
always an
imminent. I think
agreement.
it was in the news the other
There's
day.
always going to be an
Yesterday
agreement.
they said it was just about ready to finish it
One
up.
side or the other will agree.
Sure.
But let me just set the backdrop for this.
Sure.
The city of Chicago teachers, on average, are the highest paid group of teachers in the country. Their average salary for a teacher in Chicago was $76,000, when the average family income in Chicago was $47,000. So a teacher in Chicago made $30,000 more than an average family in the same city. And the teachers had the gall to ask for a 19% increase, not to mention...
Do you know how much a pizza costs in Uno's
I don't
up
give
there?
a crap.
It costs a lot of money.
Not to mention, they have the dumbest kids in the country, according to the polls. They don't teach them. 60% of the kids that go into their freshman year in high school, out of 60%, they're dropping out. These kids are leaving school. Then the 60% that get to the senior year, they don't stay in school either. I mean, their grades are D's, F's.
You're picking on a city that you could just broad brush that across any big city. It's a problem.
It's not just the cities.
Yeah, it's not just it's worldwide.
Southwest Florida's got major issues.
Yeah.
But Southwest Florida's teachers have bit the bullet. They'll take a 0% raise or a 2% or whatever it is that they get here and there so that they can keep their job without going on strike and having our kids sit at home, where the parents have to now sit at home because, and you're in a city where the unemployment rate is 30% or greater. So now the parents can't work because they got to have their kids at home because they can't just throw them in daycare because daycare is so expensive. And the teachers did this when they make this much money and they want a 19% raise when they can't even teach the kids.
I think they settled like 6 or 7%, didn't they, Joe?
I'm not sure what the percent. To me, I mean,
you always bargain high. You know that when you go in there, you ask for as much as you can get.
76,000 in Chicago. Like I made whatever it was in D.C. and then came down here to Southwest Florida, and I got a little bit of a pay cut, but it
wasn't that bad.
Well, no, because cost of living is so much cheaper. So,
Sure.
Chicago, D.C.'s not that bad. It's New York, Chicago, places like that. So that's one thing that
What
most
do you
people
think
don't
about
look at.
their pay getting the $76,000 for a teacher in Chicago? You think that's
I
fair?
think I'm the biggest capitalist you meet, but I'm also pro-union because I think that everybody deserves to try to get the best deal they can. So,
exactly.
But
that's
at
what makes it all work.
the detriment of the students and the taxpayers.
The detriment of the students is parents that go in and complain. That's why most teachers quit. That's why I won't do it.
Sure. Right.
I left because of parents. Period.
Right.
You left because of the parents.
Absolutely. They go in. They complain. The teachers. I was an old school football coach.
Right.
I was a very valued asset when I first started teaching. Now you're the mean guy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not mean. I'm strict.
I think it starts at home, though. I mean, when you have kids that are just running crazy, rampant, running wild, and you try to discipline them, then the parents, you got to deal with them. And then you're stuck with arguing with these parents about how your kid's acting like an idiot. And then, that's the problem.
Well,
that's all you're doing is, that's 90% of your job. There's 2 to 3 kids that don't do anything but disrupt in every class.
Right. Yeah, no matter how many kids you got, 18
they
kids
mess
or
it up
28
for everybody
kids.
else. With no child left behind. You got to sit there and repeat. I mean, they will come in. It's almost like I hate to use the Nazi card, but it's literally you will do things their way.
Mm-hmm.
This is everywhere.
And this is public schools or private schools or what?
Absolutely, public schools. You will do it their way,
or else,
and you will sit there and repeat the same thing to the same kid 37 times and write a report for it. Or you're gone. They'll come in and run you off. They do it in D.C. They do it down here. And really, most of the worst thing I ever heard was a lady that she taught in D.C. public schools, which is the worst in the country. Forget Chicago. There's no way. It's all federal money's messed it up. I mean, there's so many issues here. Just straight up ghetto. I mean, murder capital of the world. So many problems. But this one lady that she taught there for 30 years, she said the first 15 were the most rewarding years of her life. The last 15 was
the worst.
Torture. They're all sitting there. And we all, I see, both sides of it. From the teachers, I have these horrible working conditions. That's what I'm trained to do. That's what I went to school for. And now I'm stuck because I'm going to take a pay cut no matter what I do. I mean, all of us, who wants to take a pay cut?
No.
You have the kids.
Sure. Let me ask you this
Yeah.
now. Let me ask you this. And just in sticking on the Chicago issue, and the only reason I stay, obviously we're not Chicago, but Chicago still matters because, maybe they're, it's a big city. A lot of things that happen in a big city sometimes trickle down to the smaller cities. People see what happens and they go, oh, we'd like to do something like that.
Sets a precedent.
Yeah, maybe so.
That's a good point.
In Chicago, 39% of the teachers send their kids to private school. Could you imagine?
Beautiful. I would.
That's because they can afford it. Why would they not, as a teacher in Chicago, why would they not put their kids in public school? Or is it because of like what you said?
Because they're smart.
They're teachers. They want to teach, but now who's setting
Who in their right mind would send a kid to public school if they had the money?
Who's setting the teaching agenda for the teachers?
Well, this is where the balance comes. There's actually, I won't name names, one of the local people that ran for office, his wife put something on there, and I went on her Facebook page and said, I support the teachers. Now, the teachers union,
You're pro-union.
I'm Republican Tea Party, but I'm pro-union. My grandfather was he was president of the machinist union. Heavy hitting in it, all the politics and all. I don't necessarily agree with a lot of the political stances, but when it all comes down to it, these teachers unions are 95% of the problem. They're the ones supporting the No Child Left Behind.
But
so it's political.
You're pro-union, but not necessarily the pro-teacher union.
Absolutely not.
And why not? Because the political.
I'm pro. Let's get the best deal I can get.
Right.
Everybody get the best deal they can get within reason. I mean, I'm not a greed person. I'm a Christian. With John Locke, justice and charity, all that. But I think everybody should be able to try to get their best deal. But you can't have, the unions get into the politics. And I hate to say it, my grandfather was one of them, but that's where you're there to represent your members,
So basically,
they're trying to
the
take
guys
over
running
the
the show,
schools.
the guys running the show are making the decision for the rank and file.
Well, yeah, the union part of it, but beyond that, they're not just representing the workers. The NEA lobbies for educational reforms, like No Child Left Behind and other things. It's back to it's go read Karl Marx. Forget the word socialism. Karl Marx.
Marxism.
He didn't think parents needed to be educating their children. That the public schools should do it. Go look at what No Child Left Behind stands for.
It is pretty damning, isn't it?
So yeah, I mean, there's two sides of it.
A lot of parents shouldn't be teaching their kids.
I'm not an advocate for it.
What
I'm
about?
saying that
What do you think about this? Now, what do you think?
Absolute mess.
What do you think about this now? If in Chicago, if they've got such a poor ratio of students that do well,
it's everywhere. Okay.
Let's stick on. Okay, then let's apply it to even here, to everywhere.
Okay.
Should teachers, like normal, regular job folks, like say Smitty, Smitty works with me, and in our other life.
Yes, and balls.
Exactly.
Yes, and balls. Don't mean the balls.
But my point is, when it's time for annual time or whatever, if the economy was good and we could give raises, I'm going to base that on his merits, on how well he's done. Can teachers get raises based on merits?
DC, they went in on merit pay.
Okay.
And they changed the whole evaluation system.
All right.
And this is literal. Go look it up. One of the things on there was whether the kids applauded each other after a right answer or after an answer. Who cares whether the kids applaud each other? And there's a million other things on there. That's just for dramatic effect.
Sure.
Right.
It is ludicrous what they come in and evaluate you on. So it's crazy. So merit-based pay, it really doesn't work.
Sounds like the whole system
she's going
needs
to pay everybody $120,000 a year there. No one ever saw it.
Sounds like the whole system needs to be revamped completely around.
What if we did this? What if we did this? What if?
And I understand your point. It's a good point.
What if the schools were able to go back to the way that used to be done, when you got the local PTA, you got the school board that's local. Maybe it's a state curriculum instead of having the federal curriculum, to where the federal government's telling our teachers how they need to teach our kids.
You got to turn the money down, and that's where these
politicians they've set up the structure, the framework where you can't turn the money down.
Yeah,
right?
You can. Yeah, absolutely. It's called 10th Amendment.
Well, no. I mean, you can technically, yes, you can turn it down. But what I'm saying is they've built that framework to where if you turn the money down. Would it just turn the whole thing?
The money goes to waste. Me and one other gentleman in a school in D.C. started an after-school program for the football players.
We got
we averaged
1 minute.
15 to 30 kids. Two of us. We did it for free, most of it. Then they paid us. They did 50 teachers and breakfast and recruiting and all that, and they averaged half the kids we did. 2 people that care doing it for the right reason. The money gets absolutely
wasted.
Federal money gets wasted, and that's what it is.
Let's find out what happens. Let's find out what happens this week. If they did come to an agreement, maybe we can touch on it again next week.
Absolutely.
It's been a great show. We're coming up on a real hard break because we got another show starting.
Dunkin' Diamonds.
Yeah, I want to thank Dunkin' Diamonds. I want to thank Joe Ruffini,
especially
Mel's
Joe
Diner.
Ruffini. Joe, you've been
Tarren
great,
Bragdon. I want to thank Joe
Wimpesinger.
You laughed at me when I tried to pronounce
it. I know. Ledge Radio Show with JD and Smitty. We'll be back next week. The phone numbers are 277-9600.
Go to website.
Yep, theledgeradioshow.com. We'll see you next week, guys.